But what I want you to bear in mind is the goal is only the end result. The most important part of the goal is the journey. Bruce Lee said, a goal is not necessarily something to be reached. It simply serves as something to aim at. Welcome, queens and kings, to How to Improve Your Mental Health, part 26. And in today's video, we're going to be talking all about goals. My goal is to spread positive mental health to our whole community. So if you're on that mission with me, hit that like button. And if you're new here, would you please subscribe and join all our existing beautiful One App members? I love yous all. Okay, so in terms of my mental health, I have to have goals. I have to have targets. I have to have things that I'm working towards. Goals are hugely linked with personal development. And for me, if I'm not working towards something, I'm floundering. If I'm not working towards something, I feel directionless, I feel aimless. So, as far back as I can remember in my life, I've always been working towards something. Personal development is very important to me and my mental health, and I'm sure it's the same for a lot of you out there. The reason that goals help us improve our mental health is because they give us that sense of achievement, a sense of accomplishment, even if you don't always hit your goals. More on that later. But even if you don't necessarily hit your goals, you could be working towards something, and at the end, like I said, if you don't hit the actual goal, along the way you still develop so many different skills, attributes, qualities in yourself. You learn so much about yourself. There are so many benefits to your mental health from working towards your goals. The thing with goals are that they can be related to anything in your life: fitness, your career, relationships, buying a house, whatever you want it to be. But what you have to remember is that in order to achieve the goals, you're going to have to go on the journey. And when it comes to the journey more than the goal itself is what's actually going to help you. The goal itself is something in the far distance that you might be working towards, but it's on the journey where the real discovery is about yourself. If you're someone that doesn't always hit your goals, or if you're someone that doesn't always set goals, then what I would suggest is to start with something very small. For example, if your goals are fitness related, you just might want to start by drinking a little bit more water every day to improve your nutrition before you start hitting the gym. If your goal is fitness related, again, you might just want to start by doing a 10-minute walk every day, which is an improvement on what you were doing before. These steps might feel small to someone else, but for you, with your goal in mind, that step might be a massive step towards your goals. Again, I'll go back to the fitness topic. If you do no fitness at all, then 10 minutes of walking every day is a great start. It's a great small milestone goal to hit along the way of then maybe improving that to 15 minutes, 20 minutes a day before you then start hitting the gym and doing more strenuous cardio like jumping on an exercise bike or running on the cross trainer or something like that. Especially at the start of something, goals need to be a little bit easier to hit because at that time you're developing consistency and discipline. These are all topics we've talked about in previous videos. You can link to those by clicking on the playlist, How to Improve Your Mental Health. I said earlier that sometimes when we don't hit our goals, that could have a negative effect on our mental health, particularly if we only focus on the goal. But what I want you to bear in mind is the goal is only the end result. The most important part of the goal is the journey. I myself have been a victim of that. Often when I've not hit a goal, it's really bothered me deep down and it's caused me loads of stress. I've often gone into little periods of depression because I wasn't able to achieve something, because I'm dead proud in that sense. I'm so dedicated to trying to hit those goals. But the older I've gotten, the more I've realized that hitting the goal is not always the only way to improve your mental health. For example, on my fitness journey, reaching the goal of getting in shape and getting abs, reaching the goal actually had more of a negative effect on my mental health than the whole journey before it, because I enjoyed the journey so much, but reaching the goal sort of then left me feeling about, well, what's next? How do I improve that? And at that time, I could have gone into more of a negative mindset and more negative frame of mind and abandoned all the things I was doing along the way. But I've learned that with experience. Another advice I'd have for you with regards to goals is patience. First, you need to say to yourself, where do I want to be? Then you need to say to yourself, how long am I going to give myself? That's where the patience comes in. If you think reasonably something's going to take 3 months, why don't you give yourself 5 months or 6 months to do it? And then you've got a much more pleasant journey along the way rather than putting extra pressure on yourself. Because sometimes the pressure of trying to hit goals will cause you to have negative mental health, which is the opposite of what we want. Instead, give yourself that extra time and then you say to yourself, what do I need to do to get to that destination that I want to get to? Some goals that you work towards will need you to be consistent and disciplined, and consistency, discipline, and these things will improve your mental health. Working towards goals is personal development, and personal development is self-love. And when you practice self-love, generally your mental health will tend to be better because you're looking after your mind, your body, and your soul. If you think back to the basics of these videos that we made when we were talking about nutrition and meditating and drinking more water, absolute basics of positive mental health. Honestly, half the people I speak to don't even do the very basics. So maybe a goal could be just to start drinking more water every single day, just to eat less takeaway every week. It could simply be to just meditate 5 minutes a day. Shout out to the video editor Ramin, we were having a conversation yesterday. If you can simply just start by doing 5 or 10 minutes of meditation every day, you'll soon be able to improve that. I actually said to Ramin, start by doing 1 or 2 minutes every day. Then you improve that to 5 minutes and then improve that to 10 minutes. That's a simple way of goal setting. One thing I've got short-term goals, which is basically from now until just after Christmas, 3 months. Then I have a medium-term goal, which is probably going in after 6 months into the next 18 months or 2 years. I've got a goal in my head of where I'd like to be in 13 years' time. And everything I'm doing at the moment is putting the foundations in place to be able to get to that. That's a really long-term goal that I've got in my head, but everything I'm doing along the way are shorter and medium-term goals, which then keep that overall goal in my mind, because everything I'm doing is working towards that one day reaching that promised land. I'll give you another example. I've got a friend who hates living with her father, and it's just her and her father, and she really wants to get out of her father's house now, but she didn't know where to start. So all we worked on was setting her small enough goals for each month so that she could basically get into a place of repairing her credit situation while simultaneously saving enough money for a deposit. If you want to move out of your parents' place, you can't just go out and look for something, particularly if you've got no money and you've got no plan. So you need to be patient, even though in the short term the situation you're in might not be tolerable, but you're gonna have to tolerate it in order to make the bigger goal work. That's when your own sacrifices come into place, because some goals require sacrifice, and those sacrifices actually, although in the short term might affect your mental health a little bit negatively, in the long term they're probably going to make you more resolute, more strong-minded, and for that reason those sacrifices actually end up improving your mental health. Look folks, at the end of the day, goals are massive for mental health, especially for someone like me who's very target driven and always wants to be achieving something. My sense of purpose, my sense of success, my sense of everything is related to goals. My goals are not money orientated. My goals are set around keeping my son happy, being happy myself, trying to be the best father I can, trying to be the best community member. I'm going to give you an example of a goal I set. I actually mentioned it in one of my vlogs a few weeks ago. I was talking about getting a camera to improve my vlogging setup. The camera is called the ZV-E10. Altogether, that plus the control unit, plus the extra lenses and everything is probably going to come to about £2,000. And I'm not making that kind of money right now, but that's my goal. And I've said to myself, that has to happen by March. And then in order to do that, I've put smaller goals in play, how I can earn the money and then save the money in order to pay for that while still paying for my bills and making sure my son has a good Christmas. That's just an example of a goal. That's a good example of a goal that you could set yourself, is to buy a new car or buy something small term. But overriding advice I've got for you with this to improve your mental health is, number one, take it slowly, have patience, and make sure you incorporate small, workable, achievable steps along the way, smaller milestones in the bigger picture of your goal. And number two, if this is a goal that you're serious about, then you might not always be able to do it alone. If it's a career goal, you're going to need advice from people who are doing the job you want to do. You might need to take courses in order to become qualified in the things that you want to end up doing. You need help, you need support along the way, you need guidance, and in order to do that, the message is you can't do it alone. So seek out advice, seek out help, look for people who are already doing it that can maybe mentor you. Those two things will help you hit more goals and improve your mental health: patience and asking for help. In terms of your relationship with yourself, goals will help you improve that relationship with yourself, because you find out what you're capable of, especially along the journey of a goal, not necessarily even the goal itself. Bruce Lee said, a goal is not necessarily something to be reached, it simply serves as something to aim at. You must have heard the phrase, aim for the moon, and if you don't hit the moon, you might land in the stars. And that's what I want to leave you with. The journey of hitting your goals will stand you in good stead, and hopefully along the way, improve your mental health. So there you have it, queens and kings. That was my video on how to improve your mental health. I'll be back tomorrow with the next installment of this series of videos. Until then, big love and blessings to you. We all need a positive